Jadon Sancho sends 7-word message as Real Madrid star wowed by Man United winger's quality. Latest Manchester United news and gossip with Jadon Sancho taking to Instagram after his impressive performance for Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain. Manchester United star Jadon Sancho has sent a message after starring for Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, performance that even left Real Madrid winger Vinicius Jr in awe. Sancho is spending the second half of the season on loan with the Bundesliga club. Before his move, Sancho had only made 3 appearances for United, with his last coming back at the end of August. Wednesday night saw Sancho star for Dortmund in their Champions League semi-final first leg against Paris Saint-Germain. Dortmund won the game 1-0 thanks to a first-half strike from Niklas Füllkrug, but it was Sancho's performance that was the talking point after the final whistle. Sancho was given the Player of the Match award by several outlets, leading to talk about his long-term future. The 24-year-old is expected to return to United this summer, where it remains to be seen if he will feature at Old Trafford next season. After starring for Dortmund, Sancho posted a message on social media. The 7-word message offered a hint at his and Dortmund's mindset after the first leg victory over PSG. "We go again next week in Paris," wrote Sancho on Instagram. The post received thousands of likes and comments, including several from fellow players across the world of football. Aaron Wan-Bissaka sent a brief message to Sancho in the comments of the forward's post. The United defender simply used a salute emoji to offer his praise to his on-loan teammate. Real Madrid star Vinicius Jr also sent a message to Sancho. Vinicius had scored a brace against Bayern Munich in their semi-final first leg and wrote, "What a player," in his message to Sancho. Since returning to Dortmund, Sancho has scored 3 goals with 2 assists in his 17 appearances across the Bundesliga and the Champions League. United signed Sancho from Dortmund in a £73 million deal, and his current deal with the Reds is set to expire in 2026. £30 million offer, Erik Ten Hag axed, Jadon Sancho Manchester United future verdict given. The end of the season is on the horizon, and Jadon Sancho's loan with Borussia Dortmund is coming to an end. Jadon Sancho is playing with a smile again, and there is a decision to be made on his future. Shortly after the January transfer window opened, Sancho signed for Borussia Dortmund on a 6-month loan, which ended his exile from Manchester United's first team. Erik Ten Hag banished Sancho from his squad after an extraordinary outburst on social media, and he was placed on an individual training plan until re-signing for Dortmund. There was only going to be one outcome when Sancho refused to apologize to Ten Hag, and a departure to Dortmund represented an opportunity to get his career back on track. Sancho has contributed 3 goals and 2 assists in 16 appearances for Dortmund, and his excellent goal in defeat against RB Leipzig last weekend caught attention. "A moment of absolute magic," the commentator gasped when Sancho found the top right corner with the strike. The winger's loan with Dortmund is coming to an end, and United must decide whether to reintegrate or sell Sancho when he returns to Manchester from Germany. The main obstacle in reintegrating Sancho is Ten Hag, but the Dutchman faces an uncertain future, and another manager could be in charge of United by the start of next season. The Men has spoken to former United forward Dwight Yorke for his thoughts. Meanwhile, various Men writers have had their say on the best course of action. Tyrone Marshall. The presence of Ten Hag in the manager's office at United is clearly an obstacle to Sancho resuming his Old Trafford career, but it's not the only one. The Dutchman wasn't the only figure annoyed by Sancho during his time in the first-team squad. "It feels like too much water has passed under the bridge for another chance to be granted. That's before you consider the on-pitch dynamic. Sancho has never looked like living up to his £73 million price tag, and the stage at United is simply too big for him. It's no surprise he looks more comfortable in a more low-profile setting at Borussia Dortmund." United's working plan is that the 24-year-old will be sold this summer, and that is the best option, but bringing in £30 million plus for him won't be easy, given his reputation now precedes him and he has only impressed in bursts back in the Bundesliga. He could do with having a big say in the Champions League semi-finals to put himself in the shop window. If a buyer can't be found, then another loan is the next best option, but this will surely require Sancho to accept a reduction in his wages if he is to move abroad again, especially if it's another campaign with Dortmund. Stephen Railston. It always felt like this season had the potential to be Sancho's last at Old Trafford, and that was before he began a war of words with his manager on social media. It seemed like a coup when United signed him for £72.9 million in the summer of 2021, but he's been spectacularly disappointing, and the club must cut their losses in the upcoming window, despite uncertainty over whether Ten Hag is going to be in charge. The bottom line is Sancho hasn't been good enough since joining United. He's looked worth a fraction of the fee paid for his signature. His contribution of 12 goals and 6 assists in 82 appearances is awful, and his stock has nosedived, which has been a genuine shame. Sancho had the world at his feet during his first stint at Borussia Dortmund, and it was hoped that player would eventually arrive in a red shirt, yet he never did. Undoubtedly, there have been glimmers of potential and moments of quality produced by Sancho for United, but they've been fleeting and performances haven't been sustained. He's looked unsuited to the demands of the Premier League, often appearing incapable of beating the opposition fullback, and he shrunk in the FA Cup final last season. Sancho and United have developed an unhappy marriage, and it's time for an amicable divorce. George Smith. Ten Hag is the elephant in the room as far as Sancho's United future is concerned. For however long the former remains in charge, it is hard to envision Sancho getting so much as an opportunity to resurrect his United career. At the same time, though, if Ten Hag is axed this summer, it is still difficult to make a case for Sancho and any hopes he still has of making a name for himself at Old Trafford. Including Michael Carrick's very short spell as caretaker boss in late 2021, he has worked under 4 different managers during his time at United and has struggled to thrive under any of them. There have been glimpses and flashes of his capabilities, but none have been eye-catching enough, nor have they been consistent. He has been a shadow of the player United thought they were getting back in July 2021. As a result of his struggles, as well as his decision to undermine Ten Hag in public, United should cash in this summer and recoup whatever they can get for him, even though it will be a massive loss they have to stomach. His Dortmund loan has seen him rediscover a little bit of form, and United will be hoping that continues until the end of the season. Some transfers simply aren't meant to be, and this is one of them. Dwight Yorke. Jadon Sancho's very talented, but he needs to be integrated into the team. Sancho did not play with the talent he has because Man United's football is not free-flowing, Yorke told the Men via TV Sport Guide. Sancho is seen as a baller, but he hasn't been able to show that. Imagine going to work, where you're unhappy. Would you perform at your best? No. Sancho has to go into training not happy, always questioning something. That's not where a baller should be. He needs to play in a better environment. Tom Doyle. One thing is clear, either Sancho or Ten Hag will not be at Old Trafford next season, and perhaps neither will be. The relationship between the player and manager seems broken beyond repair, but that is not to say United firing Ten Hag would necessarily mean the return of Sancho. The England international stock among the United fan base is low due to his poor form for the club combined with the fallout with Ten Hag. A parting of ways seems inevitable, but United will not want to take a serious loss on the £73 million they paid Dortmund back in 2021, especially if they are to sell Sancho back to the same club. Dortmund are almost guaranteed a place in next season's Champions League, and the prize money and TV broadcast revenue from their semi-final run this year means a bid for Sancho this summer is no longer out of the question. Still, his wages and a large fee could scupper a dream return. Sancho stated his intentions when he rejoined Dortmund on loan in January, saying, "It felt like coming home." Regardless of whether a new United manager could get Sancho back to something approaching his best form, it seems like his heart isn't really in it. It is a crying shame the move hasn't worked out, but if Sancho has already made his mind up, then United's best option would be to cut their losses and sell him while he's sitting in the glamorous shop window that is the Champions League semi-finals. Jadon Sancho delivers clear message against PSG as Manchester United sent brutal transfer truth. Jadon Sancho impressed for Borussia Dortmund against Paris Saint-Germain in Champions League semi-final clash. Jadon Sancho left pundits purring with his first-half display against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League semi-final first-leg tie on Wednesday. Playing at this stage of the tournament for the first time in his career, Sancho was one of the standout performers as Borussia Dortmund took a 1-0 lead into the break at Signal Iduna Park. Operating from his preferred right side, Sancho was involved in an impressive and slick showing from Edin Terzic's side. Although it was German striker Niklas Füllkrug who scored the only goal of the opening half, Sancho caught the eye for his impact. Up against Nuno Mendes, Fabian Ruiz, and Bradley Barcola on the PSG left, as well as centre-back Lucas Hernandez before he was taken off injured, Sancho consistently asked questions of his opponents. Twisting and turning, going inside and out, he left the commentators drooling over his quality. "I just think I am looking at his body language, and he's looking a different player entirely," Ally McCoist said before even 20 minutes had been played. "He's wanting the ball and demanding the ball, and I think Julian Ryerson will give it him all day." When asked if it was the sort of attitude that he had shown before Manchester United paid over £70 million to sign him, McCoist could only say yes. The 24-year-old is into what is currently his final month back at Dortmund following a mid-season loan back to his former club. Playing with a smile again and starting games regularly for Terzic, he is capturing the imagination again. "I am not really one for stats, but I have got a good one here," added Rio Ferdinand at half-time. In 45 minutes, Jadon Sancho has completed more dribbles, 7, than he did in any of his 58 appearances for Man United. That is a man with confidence. When quizzed on where it comes from, he explained, "The manager, environment, being in the semi-finals, and that man right there, Terzic, is a part of that." McCoist continued to wax lyrical over Sancho after the break. "He just looks full of confidence." The Scot added, "You can tell a lot by body language, and his body language this evening is that he wants to be on the ball, he wants to take people on, and he wants to play. He certainly looks rejuvenated, that's for sure." At the weekend, he scored a stunning goal in a defeat to RB Leipzig and followed that up with his performance against PSG. United will certainly be paying attention, especially with questions over Erik ten Hag's future at the club. Sancho fell out with the Dutchman just weeks into the campaign following public criticism of his output in training. Just how the situation resolves itself is far from clear heading into a crucial summer in Sancho's career.